to ask him to take a pay cut. And I don't like commenting on people's money, saying whether someone deserves something or not, because my whole big thing is it's what you negotiated. It ain't even about all the other stuff. Because if somebody is gonna pay it to you, then somebody feels that you're valued at that. So, but if they're trying to give you a pay cut, then if that's your reality, you have to think about what your options are if you go somewhere else. Now, the thing is, in Dallas, they love him. Fans love him. I'm sure Jerry Jones and them love him and everything. But other teams don't necessarily want Dez like that. Dez is not Antonio Brown. Dez is not Julio Jones. Dez is not Odell Beckham, where people are going to just show up in the droves, and be like, oh my gosh. Dez Bryant is a really, really good wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. But if your employer, your current employer, is going to give you a pay cut, and let's just say they say, you know what, we'll give you $10 million. And Dez says that's not enough. If you go out there, what's the likelihood that another team is going to pay you more than 10? Small, but I think that, and it may not be a team that you want to be on. That's the other thing that you got to think about. Maybe in the city that you don't want to be in, maybe outdoors. It could be a bunch of stuff that plays a part in it. And then you may have other teams that just like, I'm going to lowball them. I'm going to try and get them as cheap as possible. So it's a lot. It's a lot, And if I was in Dez's situation, if I really wanted to stay in Dallas, I would probably try to have my agent negotiate something like, look, how about we agree on this? And if I go out and I find something else higher, then I have the option to take it. But if not, I can come back. Is this still on the table? And then set a time frame, set a time, a window to get that. So I hate for people, for their money, to be affected regardless, on it. But that is the business of football, and that's what they do. So it's a reality. So we have to, we have to speak about it. In the Wait a Minute Show chat room, whoa, Mochi said Jelani smoking Kush. What? No. Not me. I don't do that Kush. Maybe Lopan.
Indeed.
Lopan, you're not supposed to mention that on air. Then folks start watching. All right? Don't mention that. Mochi's also said, but Dez can't hold a candle to T.O. No, he can't. You're absolutely right. But at this point, as far as like their wide receivers that is on that squad, unless something happened in the draft, Dez is still their best wide receiver that they have. Just like T.O. was the best receiver that they had. And they let him go, for other reasons, but they let him go. Now, I told you, Kevin Gray, you didn't have to get upset. You didn't have to get worried or whatever about Dez and the whole Dallas Cowboy thing. So you don't have to call in, and try and attack me or anything like that, because I'm still trying to get on, that show, shameless plug, yeah. But now it's time for part 2 of Jelani's NFL mock draft. The Wait a Minute Show's NFL mock draft. And we talked about picks 1 through 11. And I'm gonna recap them really quick. Those picks. And number 1, it was Cleveland. And I'm sorry, I'm going through my little notes here. But Cleveland took Saquon Barkley. I said that they would go number 1, with Saquon Barkley. Number 2 was the Giants. Chief Rocket Jersey Vern did not like my pick, but I said they would go QB for Eli's replacement and Sam Darnold out of USC. Number 3 was Josh Allen out of Wyoming for the Jets. Cleveland back around. They get a quarterback this time with Josh Rosen, QB from UCLA. Denver will take Bradley Chubb to add to the defense that they have to try and get back to what they once were. Indiana, they need to protect Andrew Luck. So Quentin Nelson, O-lineman, at the 6th spot. Number 7, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They need a corner. They need to stop a lot of these wide receivers in the NFC South. They go Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. Chicago got a new offensive tools as far as like Trey Burton and Allen Robinson. And you got a new coach, and he looks like he wants to open the playbook up for Mitchell Trubisky. So Orlando Brown, offensive lineman to protect Mitchell Trubisky. San Francisco got another quarterback that they want to protect. And again, San Francisco take Mike McGlinchey, offensive line out of Notre Dame. Oakland, Roquan Smith, linebacker. They need help on defense. And Mocha Bella's Miami Dolphins take a center. They lost Pouncey, or they let Pouncey go to the Chargers, and they pick up the kid James Daniels, center out of Iowa. So those are pick 1 through 11. So now we're going to do, picks 12 through 22. So on the clock at this point is the Buffalo Bills. They are back. Or actually, they got 2 picks coming up on here, 12th and actually 22nd. So we're going to talk about their picks. So at the 12th pick, Buffalo goes quarterback. And the quarterback, and I see you get Gary G Money Jr. talking about we don't need no quarterback. We got Davis Webb. He better than Rosa and Darnold. I need to see it. But Mason Rudolph, yeah, I think I'm going to surprise people with that. I think a lot of people thought Baker Mayfield might go there. But I think one thing about, especially with the new GM and coach in Buffalo, Baker Mayfield, him and Tyrod is probably around the same height and everything. And I just think they want to go with a bigger size quarterback to go, in that AFC East. And he goes 6'5", so he's a big quarterback. So Buffalo, I think they surprise a lot of people and take Mason Rudolph at the 12th pick. Washington, they will go with, Washington was 31st in run defense. Yeah. You got your quarterback and Alex Smith and all that stuff, and some other moves that you made, but yeah, you got to address the defense. You got to be able to stop the run. Look where you are in your division. You are in the NFC East. We just talked about Ezekiel Elliott. That's someone you're going to see twice. You got Jay Ajayi that you're going to see twice. I think the Giants will come around and still get a quarterback out of the draft. That I think they're going to get, someone to go with Wayne Gallman and New Orleans Doctor is on visits right now, so he's not going to be on that team. But they're going to upgrade their running back situation. So you got to be able to stop people in your own division. So I got Washington taking Deron Payne, defensive tackle out of Alabama, to help them with stopping the run. Because if everyone can run on you, guess what? They're going to run on you. But if they can't, then that sets it up for longer third downs, not short yardage or not big plays. So very simple. You have a poor run defense, get help on the defensive side. So Deron Payne out of Alabama. Now, at the 14th pick is Green Bay. Their corners are getting old. Tramon Williams, Tramon Williams, 35, they're good at safety, with Clinton Ha-Ha Dix. So I think they go Minka Fitzpatrick, another Alabama product, cornerback. So, and go right along with, Ha-Ha and form a nice little secondary there. They still need to address some more, on the defensive side, but this is the first piece, in addressing that. So I think they go cornerback and get some help there. I just talked about Chicago where they, re-up with some offensive weapons. Detroit already had offensive weapons, and we saw what Minnesota can do with Diggs, Thielen, and Rudolph. So you got to get some guys that can stop the pass in the NFC North. you know. So Green Bay, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, that leads us to the 15th pick, which is held by the Arizona Cardinals. And Sam Bradford signed there for 1 year. And I'm just going to be honest, Sam has not been able to stay healthy. We all know that. And I think at this point, Sam is now a bridge quarterback because of his health. Larry Fitzgerald will be moving on pretty soon. So they won't have him. And they will be moving on to, new wide receivers. I think this offense will be led by David Johnson. We saw what he could do, as a year before his injury. But you got to get a quarterback. You have to have a quarterback. And they go Baker Mayfield. I think Arizona will take a chance on Baker Mayfield, quarterback out of Oklahoma. And he will be the heir apparent after Sam Bradford. I look at it kind of like what it was supposed to be with Kurt Warner and Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart was the 10th pick overall for Arizona, and he was supposed to come in and basically take over for Kurt. Didn't work out that way. Kurt went to a Super Bowl. Kurt was like, I'm not a bridge quarterback. But Kurt has some history, though. Sam doesn't. So Baker Mayfield, I think, will end up in Arizona, and he'll sit a year, and then I think he'll come out next year, a la Pat Mahomes, and be their starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. Now, number 16. 16th pick right now belongs to the Baltimore Ravens. And a lot of people have talked about Joe Flacco this, Joe Flacco that. Yeah, we really haven't had anything, go down from Joe Flacco since that Super Bowl run. And they've drafted and they've picked up free agents in the wide receiver department. They drafted Brashard Perriman. He's been injured. They picked up Mike Wallace. They just picked up Michael Crabtree. They picked up John Brown, fast guy that can get over the top. That was in Arizona. But I think they go wide receiver, and your first wide receiver comes off the board in Calvin Ridley, another guy out of Alabama. Alabama right now is roll tide, and they need someone that Joe Flacco can at least consistently throw to. Now, Joe Flacco's not going to get off the, he's not going to get away from blame in this because he plays part of the blame, but he really hasn't had. I mean, they got Jeremy Maclin and he's gone. Crabtree, he's 30. You can't expect him to be around long. And he's not a speedy guy. So they got to do something. They got to get something, going with their offense when it comes to the outside part of it. And so I think they go Calvin Ridley, wide receiver. Now, that goes to the 17th pick, which is the LA Chargers that will be on the clock. And this past year, they made a really, really really big effort to establish the run. The run game was not what they thought or what they wanted it to be. Melvin Gordon did have a better season. Not yardage-wise, where he would want to be, but he scored 10, 12 touchdowns, I think, in the season. But you need someone to protect Phillip Rivers as well. You need someone that's going to be able to open holes for Melvin Gordon. Because what you really want, you want to kind of transition this weight over to Melvin Gordon and try to prolong Phillip Rivers as long as you can. The guy still can play, So I got them taking Isaiah Wynn, guard out of UGA. Help with the run game and also, but help with the pass game. Now, excuse me. Isaiah Wynn, he opened up a lot of holes for Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, and he was a vital part of that run that they made to the national championship game. So that's what I think the Chargers are going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for someone who is ready to go day one, and they can just put out there and be like, let's get it.